Today, Kentucky's Attorney General Russell Coleman unveiled the state's new resource manual for domestic violence prosecution.
WKYT's Jessica Umbro was in Oldham County and explains what the manual does and why AG Coleman says it's so important. It's our top story at 6.
Make no mistake, let me be crystal clear. We will pursue offenders in our Commonwealth, and I'm so grateful that this is a tool to help us do that.
The new features of the 2024 Domestic and Interpersonal Violence Prosecution Policy Procedure Manual focuses on DV victims' rights in Kentucky. Brittany Scordo, Director of Partner Violence and Parenting Programs at the Nest Center for Women, Children, and Families of Lexington, says victim advocacy is a key part of addressing domestic violence in the community.
We need victims to feel safe and empowered and supported so that they can come forward, share their story, and actually access meaningful justice. Otherwise, prosecutors cannot do their job to hold offenders accountable.
One of the themes that Attorney General Russell Coleman said is important is giving victims a multitude of avenues that they can take, as well as equipping prosecutors with different routes that they can use to keep victims safe.
It's a reminder of where to reach out to get those immediate services because of the immediacy oftentimes of what we're facing here.
A key point of the manual is that not every domestic violence situation is the same. Pressing charges may be best for some, while others may opt for an emergency protective order.
There are all these different factors that you have to take into consideration when you are working with a survivor who's trying to make choices to keep themselves safe. It is a very complex situation.
In Oldham County, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Anyone who's been a victim of a crime is encouraged to contact the Attorney General's Victim Resource and Referral Line. That number can be found at the bottom of your screen.